poker over the years has changed. Someone brought in conversation about the moneymaker effect and how the game was better before that. And 100%, as far as I'm concerned, was better back then. Not only were the players weaker, they were more, their character wasn't a bunch of fucking guys in hoodies, sunglasses, don't move, bunch of zombies on the table and staring at dots. It was just better back then. The people were they were more interesting characters, let me put it that way. But these guys, look, if they weren't criminal, they were quasi-criminal. But the people that played in these games, they were street smart at least, you know what I mean? And so when I was growing up, 40 years ago, there's no legalized gambling where I am. I'm playing in back rooms, I'm playing with bikers, I'm playing with organized crime figures. Literally, even if you're playing with the biker, you know, with the, let's say, I don't want to name, but they, you know, they're running drugs and stuff. It's organized crime. It's not a motorcycle club per se. You're dealing with dangerous guys. Yeah, I don't even want to tell you some of the stuff I saw. Actually, you know, let me tell you a story about TJ. TJ was playing a game in Dallas, that neighborhood in Dallas, and he won a fair amount of money. This was back in the day, he won $8 grand. And he's got to go down 3 flights of stairs. Well, there was a guy, Tony Inman, said, "Hey, let me walk you to your car. I got a gun." The thing was, Tony Inman had a reputation of shooting people and taking their money. TJ said he was more scared of the guy protecting him than he was of someone jumping them. Yeah. So there was a lot of, I don't really want to tell these stories. It was bad. But the cool thing about YouTube is you get to meet people like me, alright? So like I'm a different generation, you know. These new players, let's say after the Moneymaker effect, you know, they grew up on online poker. They weren't worldly, you know, they weren't traveling the world, they have no life experience basically. I don't want to insult anybody, but let's say a typical player is a little bit brainy, right? But with no street smart in them. There's one guy, I'll name this guy because he said something. I'm not making any judgments on his character. Doug Polk. He said he doesn't want to play the private game because he doesn't know if he's going to be cheated. Well, back in my day, yeah, you're going to get cheated. But the thing is, knowing how to cheat, I mean, you don't need to know how to do the moves or whatever, but you needed to know at least what to look out for. You need to know what the methods were and how to spot them so you know when you're in the crooked game. And, you know, unbeknownst to the general public, for example, I'll give an example of how it worked where I live. Now, these underground games with the bikers and organized crime guys, you are not going to cheat. They might be cheating, but you're not going to be cheating because you're going to get killed. Where you'd work, your little hustle, if you wanted to do this, is the banquet halls. The banquet halls, you know, they'd be like 3 banquet halls, like 3 rooms in a banquet hall. And you could go to the banquet hall and there'd be at least 1 stag going on. So if it was 3 weddings, then, you know, let's say that banquet hall is booked for weddings on the Friday. Just go to the next one. Guaranteed, you know, once you go to 2 at least, that one of those rooms is a stag or a Jack and Jill. Just buy a ticket at the door. Doesn't matter. Nobody cares. They're just trying to generate revenue. But there's going to be gambling going on. Now, even though you don't know anybody, it doesn't matter. You see an open seat at a poker table, you know. It's not a poker table, it's just the dining room, banquet hall, regular table, but, you know, the deal is rotating, there's a seat open. You just say, is this seat open? Can I play? You come into the game. And then you just do like this, you know, open hand over your chest, open palm on the table. That means I'm a cheat. Anyone want to team up? Then you're going to get a response where they put a closed fist on the table, and that means no, get out of here. But if they put an open palm back on the table or on their chest, that means, yeah, let's go. And there's all kinds of signals for cards and stuff like that. And there's signals, you know, like the brush. I don't know how far the camera's going on the table, but the brush means it's a no-go, plays off, we've got heat. Yeah, if you don't know these terms, whatever. But okay, so you work those games because you're working, you know, just regular Joes from Kokomo. You're not going to get, you know, a knife into your liver that you might get with the biker. I'm going to show you how easy it is to run a scam. So somebody challenged me to a poker game, right? Now, I'm not going to insult the guy or anything. We're all good. We're all good. We're all good. I'm good. We're good. Came up with a challenge, something like 5-10. people offered to stake me. Now, first of all, $1,000 to me is nothing. You know what I'm saying? You might as well put a 10-cent challenge. Like, it's, what is it? Doesn't make a difference to me if I win 1,000, lose 1,000. It's the same thing as losing a dime. And I mean dime, not slang. Dime, 10 cents, 5 cents, penny. So, but here's how easy to run a scam. 4 people contacted me. You know, I've been on YouTube a long time. Maybe it was 2006. 15 years. So some people have my email. You know, they contact me. One guy even wrote right on the screen, "I know who you are. I'm not going to name you." You know, put up half the buy-in. Once you start doing that, remember these 4 people don't know each other. What if I'd taken $500 off each of them? Now I got $2,000 in my pocket. Now what? Now I can play buddy, lose the match. He pockets 1,000. I pocket 1,000. I got 2,000. I lose the 1,000. I think he wanted to stream it. Everything looks legit except Rob's got $1,000 without any liability. You know what I'm saying? As an example, let's just say these are the numbers. Let's say I can beat that guy 60% of the time, and he wins 40%. But what that means is I'm winning 20% of the time. 20% of the 1,000 is 200. I'm netting $200 for each match in the long run. But I just made $1,000 100% of the time. You see the difference? Now, I'm not a scumbag. I don't do stuff like that. And by the way, over the years, many people, and I thank you and you know who you are, have offered to give me money or a gift card or whatever. They just said, "I really appreciate your videos. I understand that you're just doing this out of generosity. Because I don't have to do this, you know." So I appreciate it. I always tell them I appreciate it. Whatever you want to give me, donate it to charity. You know, whatever. Even if it's just $10, you know, it adds up for the charity. It's all good. So I thank all those people. I thank everyone who supported me. I thank James, Al. I read your comments. I like it. Nikki always supported me. You know, it's all good. And each and every one of you. Everybody who appreciates my videos. Subscribe to the channel because they wanted to watch my videos, because they like my videos, as opposed to the hatred. Because there's people signed up or subscribed for the hate. That's cool too. Whatever, bro. Whatever floats your boat. Who cares? Rob doesn't care. Okay, so now let's go to the poker tells. Now, I told you I extrapolate, and it's like, I told you when the guy's looking away, maybe he's trying to make comfortable for you to bet. Now, what you extrapolate from that is, you better not have a tell. You better not be looking away when you're trying to make a guy comfortable to bet, and you're going to be looking at him when you're bluffing. So my first tip is, when you're making these large bets, have a place to look, a consistent place, whatever it is. You want to look at the TV monitor, you want to watch, you know, the sports, whatever. When you're making these bets, look somewhere. You can hide your eyes if you want, you can pull your hat down, you can do whatever you want. But have a consistent place to look. Don't be looking one place with the bluff and one place with the nuts, you know what I mean? That's important. So in doing these tells, I want you to realize you don't give off these tells. Okay, so here's a tell that can be used online or live. So that's good, because some people only play online, some people only play live, and some people play both. So this is a good one to start with. Your heads up on the flop, the guy bets, or you're the better. So your heads up on the flop, you're the better, and the guy insta calls you. What's he got? You should know instantly what he's got, because it's a very reliable tell. First of all, the reason he's insta-calling you is generally, from his point of view, he's trying to discourage you from betting against. So basically what he'll have is middle pair, bottom pair, or some kind of draw, you know, like a flush draw. He's trying to discourage you from betting on the turn, because on the turn you can get the draws out if they know how to play, because they might not be getting their implied odds, you know, once you start betting the turn. And there's only one more card to come, and there's only one more betting round, whereas on the flop there was 2 more cards to come, 2 more betting rounds if they hit on the turn. It's a different situation drawing on the flop and drawing on the turn. So they're trying to discourage the bet. If they got middle pair or bottom pair, they might not be sure where they are, because maybe you're just c-betting the flop. And they're trying to control pot size. You know, if you check the turn, they can see the river card for free, and they're also controlling the pot size at the same time. So generally, the insta call means weakness, means bottom pair, middle pair, or draw. It's good information to know. And actually, now it just popped in my head thinking about these tells. Sometimes tells can go wrong, and I remember I played with this. He was a police detective, retired. Terry played with him in this underground game, and he had a bad tell. It was a conversational tell. So there's tells that are words and not physical mannerisms. So his tell was he would do a disclaimer. We call this like a disclaimer tell, where he'd bet and say something like, maybe we might say, I can't call, so I'll bet, or I have to bet. Some kind of disclaimer like that. That's always a strong hand. But with Terry, it always meant the nuts. And so this is years ago. This is back in limit poker days. And sure enough, he throws out that tell, and he bets the river. I know he's got the nuts. I have a super strong hand. I have a set. But I know he's got the nuts. I can't remember if it was a straight or a flush, but I know he hit it. So I fold my hand. It's a multi-way pot. He's not trying to level me. In limit poker, it's a protected pot, because when you're playing multi-way, by the time you get to the river, the pot is so big you can only bet a fraction of it. It's a protected pot. But I know this tell is 100%. And so sure enough, he says, flush. And he, oh, it was straight. Sorry. Now I remember. He said straight, and he opens up. But he doesn't have a straight. He misread his hand, and it happens. But he bet it like he had it. His conscious mind told him he had it. He bet it like he had it. It was trying to level me to get me out of the pot because, first of all, this guy wasn't even a good poker player. But second of all, it's a multi-way protected pot. Man, I felt so stupid. It's like you're saving one bet. You know how many multiple bets are in it? It's not like playing no limit. But it's like, you know what? I did the right thing in the long run. That's 100% tell. But not 100%, because I learned that day was, there is a certain percentage of times that people misread their hands. Now for him, I don't know what that number is. But it's probably less than 1 in 100. It's got to be. But let's say it was 1 in 100. That means that tell is 99%. That screwed me up. So there are conversational tells. Like if a player says to you, let's say you bet, and he says something like, do you have anything? Well, usually that means he's fishing for information. So my advice there would be, don't say anything. Just don't say anything. But there are things, like I said, the disclaimer tell, where you say, I have to bet. Or I can't call, so I raise. Or something along those lines. That's always a strong hand. But if a recreational player does a long, rambling speech, remember this, the speech means the nuts.